Okay, so, Holly, I like you so much. So we're going to come up after working the legs and sideline. We're going to come up and work here. So I want you to try position yourself in a straddle position, and we're going to, with our hands flat, slide them underneath the lower back. My fingertips are on either side of the spinous processes of the lower lumbar, somewhere between the 12th rib and above the iliac crest. And this is just a simple opening, so my arms are straight. I'm going to inhale, and on the exhale, I'm just going to sit down to stretch the back. So I'm not lifting per se, but I'm just sitting down. So do that a couple of times, yeah?
And you're moving up as you do that.
I just did because I was a little bit too far back.
Oh, that
You don't-
generally stands it.
Yeah. And you want to resist the temptation of lifting, because you'll just, no good for your lower back. You know, no good for your lower back. Also too, curling your fingers into the musculature of the lower back and letting their body weight come right under your fingertips, and your hands are supported by the mat. So basically you come and you curl your fingers into the musculature of the lower back and just hang out.
Are you in the rectors, or are you inside the rectors and the lamina groove?
Right now I'm into the rectors, in the belly of the lower rector longissimus mostly. Okay. And now I'm going to do a little rotation, so leaning back. So again, extended arm, nice rotation, just letting your body weight shift. Down. Stretching. Don't freak you out when I was scratching your foot this way.
Yeah, kind of. I was a critter.
Now, we're going to start to loosen the abdomen a little bit, and we're going to work with the breath with our thumbs. So we're going to start, and we're going to work all up under the rib cage, and we're going to come down, and then we're going to compress into the lateral borders of rectus abdominis, and we're going to come down into the pelvic bowl just in front of the ASIS and just below the navel. So this whole area here. Okay. So they talk about hara tantien area below the navel, but they consider this whole area hara for diagnosis. So we want to address all the abdominal area. So we're going to start by using the bony landmark of the sternum, just below the sternum. And we're going to place our thumbs here. And we're going to wait for their breath, so at their inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to sink in. But sink in only as much as their breath allows. And with the next inhale, the thumbs get pushed out and you move them up underneath the rib cage, and on the exhale, you curl your thumbs up underneath the rib cage. And then out, down, here. And this really helps loosen up the fascia. Here, the diaphragm has a tendency to get stuck up underneath here quite a bit, and this really helps it release so that they can take some nice deep breaths. And it's that deep breath that activates the organs. It's that deep breath that allows the chi and the blood to move more freely through the system. And you take that down to the inferior angle of the rib cage. And then after the inferior angle of the rib cage, inhale, then you're going to use the sides of your hands to compress into the lateral borders of rectus abdominis towards the midline. Inhale, expanding, moving your hands down a little bit. Exhale towards the center. Then you'll start to feel your fingers coming right up against the ASISs. And you work towards the midline so that the heels of your hands come together just below the navel.
So is there, in your compressions, is there a medial direction too?
Yes, like I mentioned, you go into the lateral border of rectus abdominis, moving towards the midline. So it's not a compressive action down,
Gotcha.
but rather you're engaging the lateral borders of the rectus abdominis towards the midline. And you're working down, excuse me when I do this, below the navel to just above the pubic ramus. So you're getting this whole area here. So after here, we're going to just wait for a breath and then compress on the exhale. And then you want to keep this hand here and then just follow the breath up. So here we're working one of the meridians of the central channel, the conception vessel, as it works right up the center of the body. Right through the sternum, where we put our hands during the heart makuhō. The joints of the thumbs go right into this portion which is associated with the heart chakra, conception vessel 17. If you feel on yourself, right about midway between the end of the sternum and the manubrium, or beginning of the sternum, there's a little dip, and that little dip is associated usually with conception vessel 17, with your heart chakra, approximately. And we're working right up. And this morning we're going to end with alternating compression into the upper fibers of pec major. Okay, so that's the general loosening of the abdomen. Now, if you open your manuals to the Hara section, please. Please, you have your manual? And I want you to take note of that Hara map that I included in your notes. What page is that?
28.
Thank you. Thanks for being so helpful. I appreciate it.
28, by the way.
That's a 2-8, guys.
Y'all see that? Now take a look. Now, in your Hara, okay, those areas are divided into associated points or areas that are associated with all the channels in the body. You'll notice the abbreviations. Those are the abbreviations for the meridian. Okay, and know that this form of diagnosis is to work in the Hara to try to loosen this area up so that chi is flowing. That we use these areas to determine how the meridians are doing that day. Okay? So what we're looking for in essence is, we could use this terminology, kyo or jitsu. Kyo meaning a sense of vacancy or depletion, and jitsu, which is more of a sense of fullness, or in some instances stagnation. Okay. And in feeling Hara, one of the ways of determining that is if you feel something that feels excessively hard, or in retrospect, if you feel something and you sink in very deeply and it has a sense of no structure and you sink in more, like it has a feeling of emptiness. Also, too, temperature can be associated with kyo and jitsu. So with excess, there's more of a sense of heat or warmth. And depletion, like when we are depleted, we have a tendency to be more cold. You know, our internal fire is low, so we have a sense of cold. Okay? So if what you're palpating for in Hara, I'd like you to do this little exercise. Take your hand and just be it palm up. Okay? And we're going to use the palmar eminence here as a stand-in for our Hara. Okay? So this will be our Hara. And just to get some tactile association with Kyo, Jitsu, and balanced Hara. So if you just just let your hand be very, 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 very relaxed. Okay? And just palpate here on the palmar eminence. And you'll notice you sink down pretty much. Feel? Easy? Sink down quite a bit before you hit some sort of structure. Okay? That's more of a sense of depletion. Okay? Now, just place your thumb against your hand. Don't press, just place. Now feel the difference in the palmar eminence. Okay, so it's got some softness, but you can more readily feel that sense of structure or support in the area. Yes? 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 Now press your thumb against your hand. Really press. Now feel. Okay? That's more like Jitsu. Okay? So, again, relaxed. Feel how you sink down a lot farther than before. And then if you just place the thumb against the hand, not press, but just place, you feel that sense of balance. You feel a nice representation of softness, but also structure underneath. And then if you press against, you feel that overt hardness. That's Jitsu. Okay. So after I show you this, how you go around, we're going to do an exercise where we're going to work on one another, feeling Hara. And I want you to have those maps right there so you know what areas you're on. And as you're working, if you feel an area that calls to you and is interpreted by you in that moment as Kyo or Jitsu, I want you to go to that meridian. And I want you to stretch that meridian. And I want you to thumb that meridian. I want you to do source point on that meridian. Then I want you to go back to the Hara point and feel if you feel a difference. To see if what we're doing is truly connected to that point.
Going back to the diagram you have of the Hara, what are HG and IH?
IH?
Or is it LH? I can't tell.
Let me see.
It's large intestine,
Where are you at? LI is large intestine.
I think it's
And
supposed to be
no,
LU.
it's top left side, yeah, or right if you're looking at it.
Oh, that's
HG is in the
no,
center.
that's triple heater or triple warmer.
TH.
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 In between stomach and
Yes.
lung,
Yes.
that's triple warmer. Or this is triple heater also. And the HG is also pericardium,
Pericardium.
heart guardian.
Heart guardian.
So that's pericardium. Okay? So we understand the exercise, yeah?
Just either Kyo or Jitsu. Go to the point.
Right. Just to see if what you do affects it at all. Now, come closer, y'all. And I just want you to see this hand position. Okay. Now, there's different ways of working Hara just in this palpatory situation just to determine some form of diagnosis. One thing I've started to do to, in my mind, support the energetic dynamic between front and back and above and below is to slip my hand underneath the lower back, below the 12th rib and above the iliac crest. And when the person inhales, I'm going to be squeezing, and when they exhale, I'm going to be releasing while I'm going into the points. And the reason I started doing that, not only to support the back and enhance the reciprocal relationship between the abdomen and lower back, but also serratus posterior inferior is considered a breathing muscle because of its strong attachment to the aponeurosis and the ribs. and when it contracts, it pulls the ribs down so that the diaphragm can expand more readily. So I'm more actively engaging that muscle so that they can have a fuller inhale and exhale into their diaphragm. Okay. When you're working on someone, you want to encourage that they take some nice deep breaths and to encourage that they're breathing deeply while you're doing this. Also, too, it might help if you put something underneath their knees. Okay, that also helps. But all that said, I want to say that, you know, we have to approach this with the utmost respect because it's such a vulnerable area. So vulnerable. I mean, we keep so much in our stomachs. We keep so much deeply hidden. And just the position is very vulnerable. So what we're going to do when we're working is that we, through our sense of touch and presence, we want to convey to the person that they are indeed in control of the situation. So when we're working on hara, we only want to go in as far as their breath allows us to. Okay, that's all that's necessary. We don't have to go in really deep. We don't want to force ourselves on the person, particularly in the sense of vulnerability. Okay, so please keep that in your heart when you're working. So I'm going to slip my hand into the lower back. And another reason I started doing this is because to keep my body in a good position, I naturally come down like this. And in my mind, this puts me in a position of service to the person. Okay, rather than here. I like to be here. And it also takes my eyes away so that I bring my sense to my hands, to my heart, not to my eyes.
Now is your hand centered on the spine?
So the spine is right in the center of my palm. And if you can, the heel of your hand is on one side of the musculature, your fingertips on the other. So again, this is what the dynamic that's happening. The inhale, squeeze, engage in the musculature. On the exhale, you release, and then follow the breath in. Okay? So we're going to start here and work through and then up. Okay? So call out which one I'm on now. First one.
Heart.
And then the breath comes, I'm squeezing, moving to the next portion,
Stomach.
up underneath the rib cage. A little louder next time.
Triple hit.
Thank you. And then right at the inferior angle of the ribs.
Lung.
Now see how those next ones are curved? Now look, my hand. See how it fits right in there? Which one is that,
Liver.
please? Huh?
Liver. Liver. Spleen.
Now look, I'm moving towards the center, towards the navel.
So kidney and bladder.
Kidney, bladder.
Where's the small?
Okay, stop 1 second.
Yeah.
Look.
I'm so confused.
So I'm going heart, stomach, lung, and then my hand is curved for large intestine, and then my hand, I'm working towards the navel. Bladder, still curved, curved kidney, and then I'm going to take my fingers and go across these for small intestine. Okay, so I'm using the rib cage here, first the end of the sternum, up underneath the rib cage, coming down. I'm going to do this for large intestine, this for bladder, and this for kidney, working my way towards the center. And then I'm going to use the ASIS and the navel. If you draw a line from there, you can use your fingertips to palpate into the small intestine. Okay? So again, so we're working heart. Next.
Small. Stomach.
You can read it, it's okay. triple warmer, lung, and then I'm going to turn my hand 3 times like this, so it's
bladder,
No, large intestine.
large
Large
intestine,
intestine.
and then
bladder,
Bladder.
kidney,
just a second, I gotta follow this breath, kidney, and now I'm going to use the navel and the ASIS sideways to get small intestine. See?
Small intestine.
And then my palm of my hand is going to go below the navel, so I'm going to work up bladder. See bladder at the bottom?
yeah,
And then as I'm working more towards the center, kidney. Now I'm working towards me now, so I'm going to do 3. This is large intestine again. This is bladder again.
kidney,
This is kidney again. Then I'm going to use the ASIS and this.
Small intestine.
Stop breathing.
Stop. Okay, and that's small intestine. And now I'm going to work up this side of the rib cage. So this is lung, right?
yes,
And now what?
liver,
And its partner?
gallbladder,
Now I'm going to go up the center,
spleen,
spleen, and above it I'm going to do pericardium, and then back to heart. So you're working in a clockwise manner. So again, at the end of the sternum, heart, right? And then what's next?
Stomach.
Okay, you can look at the charts, please. And then
triple heater,
triple heater,
Heater.
and then using the inferior angle here, lung.
Lung.
And then I'm going to go large intestine,
bladder,
bladder,
kidney,
kidney, small
Small
intestine,
intestine.
and then bladder again,
bladder, kidney,
kidney, and then I'm moving here, so then large intestine, bladder, kidney,
Kidney.
small intestine, lung,
liver,
liver,
gallbladder,
gallbladder,
and then
heart,
don't go
Pericardium.
down,
spleen,
Skipped.
pericardium,
No, no, you go.
pericardium.
and heart.
Oh, what's the triple heater?
Hmm?
What's the triple heater?
What is triple heater?
Where is it?
It's in it's associated with the pericardium and the fire element, and it has to do with 3 zones in the body. Say the upper area, which they call a burner, triple burner, the middle burner, and the lower burner. And it has to do with how the energy or the heat is transported into that area so that the organs in that area function. So in the upper burner, it's more about respiration, lung and heart. In the middle, it's about taking in and assimilation, so it's all the large intestine and stomach. The lower burner has to do with sexual organs and elimination. So upper heater, middle heater, lower heater.
So the only two that really change, like it's the same mirror image, the only two is gallbladder, liver, and stomach. Triple heater.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
On spleen, when you're hitting it, are you above or below the navel or on the navel?
Both, actually.
So you're
Yeah.
straddling.
Yeah, that's the earth element right in the center. In the old diagrams, they used to have the earth in the center all the time, which makes so much sense, I think, because it has that sense of stillness and transformation. Even in between the seasons, basically, isn't it like there's an earth representation between the seasonal changes, every seasonal change, because there's that sense of stillness before it transforms into something else. So they represent that as that quote, that all movement comes from stillness, first of all. So all comes from earth, all comes from that sense of stillness.
Do you do bladder 3 times?
Bladder 3 times,
Side,
kidney 3
bottom,
times.
side.
I did, yeah. Only because I like to work, feel the bottom here, just to get a good sense of the tantien, like the whole overall condition. Now, this is how I was shown how to work it. I made a few changes, but I added this. So, you know, check it out and see. But again, I want you to be familiar with this, that these areas do represent the condition of organs in the body. You can stop this now. You know, and that, and that I want you to have a general sense, see if you can feel